been wanting to spend more time with God, but every single morning you find yourself rushing out the door. The day flows by, you go from meeting to meeting, and next thing you know, it's 10 o'clock, you're exhausted, you're scrolling on social media, and the whole day went by and you didn't spend any time with God. Maybe you couldn't even focus on your time with God because you had so many deadlines and things to do that day that you thought you could just save yourself some time. But now you're finding that each and every day it's getting harder to hear from Him, and you can't even remember the last time that you spent with Him. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about why you should prioritize your time with God and how it can even make you more productive. Now, before we get into the 3 reasons why you should prioritize your time with God, let's talk about what happens when you don't start your day with God. Now, the number one thing that usually happens when you don't start your day with God is that you typically find that your mornings are very rushed. A lot of times this happens because you either hit snooze a little too many times on the alarm clock, or you just thought that you had more time and suddenly time has left you and it's time to go to work or time to start your day. And from the moment that we wake up, we find that all we can think about is what we have to do today, what's going on in social media, what did we forget to do yesterday. Our minds are constantly running. And so you're trying your best just to get out the door, but next thing you know, your mornings are rushed. Another thing that happens when you don't start your day with God is that you will find that you're more easily irritated and offended throughout the day. Things that really shouldn't bother you can turn into huge triggers. You may find yourself being short in conversation or even easily offended by something that someone says. And this is happening because you're not covering yourself spiritually before your day starts. Now, another thing that happens when you don't start your day with God is that your spiritual senses are dulled. A lot of times when you go into your day, there's so much that can throw you off track. And when you don't start your day with God and you just start it with your to-do list or whatever you have going on that day, you're going to have a little bit more trouble hearing from God. Starting your day with God sets the tone for the day, and so you're able to hear God more clearly. And when you can't hear God clearly, you're spending a lot of your time being reactive to things instead of proactive. The enemy has set traps even in the nighttime for your day to throw you off, to offend you, to annoy you, to get you out of character. And you're going to be a lot more vulnerable to those things when you don't prioritize spending time with God. I know it can be tempting to save 20 minutes or 30 minutes there, or to just kind of skip over and gloss over prayer. But you will find, if you look back on the days where you didn't start your day with God and the days where you did, the difference in how your day flowed. Now, if you're watching this video, I believe that you really do want to prioritize your time with God, but you just can't seem to get the rhythm or the habit flowing. And sometimes you can even convince yourself that you don't even have enough time to spend with God. And so because you don't have enough time, you don't spend any time at all. But then you find yourself in these cycles where it's been 2-3 weeks since you really sat still in God's presence. You've been finding yourself spiritually snacking on Bible quotes here and there, but not really getting fed the meat of the word and prioritizing time in prayer and worship. One of my favorite scriptures that talks about the importance of prioritizing your time with God is in Matthew chapter 6, verses 33 through 34. I'm going to read it in the Passion Translation. It says, "So above all, constantly seek God's kingdom and His righteousness. Then all these less important things will be given to you abundantly. Refuse to worry about tomorrow, but deal with each challenge that comes your way, one day at a time. Tomorrow will take care of itself." Another translation that you're probably more familiar with talks about, "Seek ye first the kingdom of God." God knows every single thing that you need. He knows what you need for each day. He knows what tomorrow holds. And so by seeking Him first, this scripture is reminding us that all the lesser important things, the things on your to-do list, your responsibilities, He's not saying that they aren't important, but they are not priority over Him. You serve a God who knows what you need before you even ask, and He cares about all of your worries. He knows everything. And so you can trust that spending time with Him is not a waste of time. That brings me into my first reason why you should prioritize your time with God. Number 1, God is all-knowing. That means that He knows every single detail of what's going to happen in your life before you were even born. He laid out your days. He's ordered your steps. And so the beauty of having an all-knowing God is that you're able to have insight into what's going to happen in your day before it happens. He knows the plans of the enemy before they happen. So that coworker that the enemy is trying to work through to get you irritated, that smart remark that's going to come through your emails, he knows all of those things. And by prioritizing spending that time with him, you're going to get that insight and you're going to be able to respond better. You can even be so in tune with God that he can tell you, don't take this way today because there may be an accident. Take this way instead. Like, God is a God of details, and you're putting yourself at a disadvantage when you're not seeking him first. Again, I know it can be tempting to feel like, oh, I'll be just fine if I just start my day without him. I can just get in a quick prayer, and sometimes it feels like it's enough, but you're going to find yourself running on empty. Prioritizing time with the all-knowing God is the best strategy for your day. It's better than any productivity hack. It's better than any type of plan that you could set out because he knows all. The second benefit of prioritizing your time with God in the morning is that you'll be proactive instead of reactive. How many times have you blown up on a coworker or said something that you shouldn't have or gone somewhere that you shouldn't have gone? Or how many times has your day just flown by and you wish that you had more control over your day? You spent most of your day surviving and responding to things that you didn't see coming when you could have been proactive and laid a foundation for your day that would set you up for success. If you struggle with prioritizing what's important throughout your day, spending time with God in the morning will help you to establish your priorities. Again, because he is all-knowing, he knows what's going to happen before you do. So again, by prioritizing that time with God, especially in the morning, you're going to be so much more at peace throughout the day. You're going to find that you're not exhausting all of your energy fighting off things that you didn't see coming, but you're actually going to walk in your day with a peace. Imagine how it would feel to walk into your day knowing that you have the full armor of God on, knowing that you know what's going to happen through your day, and even if you don't know everything, that you're going to be filled up spiritually and be able to respond well. You're probably going to walk in with more joy, more ease. Things aren't going to throw you off and surprise you, and you're going to literally walk in with the peace of God. Now, while there are so many more benefits of prioritizing your time with God, the last one that I want to mention is that by prioritizing your time with God each day, you're actually filling up your own cup. I talked about one of the effects of not spending time with God in the morning is that you are very spiritually dull and empty. This can cause you to be very vulnerable to attacks, especially when you're fatigued. When you're not prioritizing your time with God, you are spiritually empty. There is nothing that you can pour out to others. You may miss opportunities to minister or to be a blessing or to be in the right place at the right time. You may find yourself very snappy and you're just like, man, I don't have any patience. All of those things, the fruits of the Spirit, you get filled up when you're spending your time with God. You're very sensitive to his ear and you're going to respond better. You've been sitting here trying to figure out what's the missing piece, how can I have a more productive day, and what you're missing is prioritizing your time with God. Again, time with God is not wasted time. It is a temptation to believe that you can function without God, and it's actually pride. Pride is the root that makes you believe that you can be independent from God. Even Jesus relied on morning prayer and morning fellowship with God before he did anything. He never rushed his time with God. And Jesus was more busy than all of us. He was traveling from city to city. He had pretty much the whole world pulling on him for miracles and signs and deliverance and all these things. And he even had the disciples pulling on him. Yet he knew the power of prioritizing time with God. So if you've been in that place where you're trying to figure out how to prioritize your time with God and start your days with him, the first thing that you need to do is probably go to bed earlier. If you can even get to bed 30 minutes earlier, you can wake up at least 10 to 15 minutes earlier than you usually do. A lot of times your night routine is what's throwing off your morning routine. So try to readjust how you're spending your time at night so that you can actually wake up earlier. We all know the benefits of waking up earlier, but we still don't do them. If you're ready to stop just surviving life and actually take control, you're going to have to start waking up earlier. Especially if you have kids, if you have people in your household, you're going to need to spend that time where it's silent and you can actually get in his presence. Now, another simple way that you can start your day with God is to get a Bible plan. Sometimes it can be overwhelming spending time with God if you don't know where to focus, but a Bible plan that's specific to the needs and the season that you're in can help you to build some momentum. The YouVersion Bible app has tons of Bible plans for every single thing that you need. They even have plans that help you to prioritize spending your time with God. So pick one, it doesn't matter how long it is, and just start it. You can even set a reminder so each day you'll already know what you're going to focus on. It's not about how long you spend time with God. A lot of that is dealing with your heart posture. You just want to make sure that you're starting your day with God. If you only have 10 to 15 minutes for right now, do that and work your way up. Because again, 10 to 15 minutes spending time with God is going to be a lot more productive than whatever else you were doing and rushing your morning through. So I hope that this was helpful. I'll talk to you guys on the next video.